Snow fell heavily on the city streets as Marcus Dalton left his office building, his expensive coat doing little to ward off the bitter cold. At 37, the CEO of Dalton Industries had insulated himself from most of life's discomforts. But tonight, Christmas Eve, even wealth couldn't protect him from the emptiness waiting in his penthouse. He was heading toward his car when he noticed the line outside the homeless shelter cross the street. Dozens of people huddled in the cold, waiting for the doors to open. Marcus had walked past this shelter 1,000 times without really seeing it. But tonight, something made him look. That's when he saw the boy, maybe 8 years old, with dark hair and a face too serious for his age. He wore a red jacket that was too thin for the weather and carried a backpack that looked worn. But what caught Marcus's attention was the little girl the boy held in his arms. She was maybe 3, with blonde pigtails and a gray scarf wrapped around her neck. She wasn't walking. The boy was carrying her, struggling under her weight, but refusing to put her down. Marcus found himself crossing the street, drawn by something he couldn't name. "Excuse me," he said, approaching the boy. "Are you okay?" The boy looked up at him with wary eyes that had seen too much. "We're fine, sir. Just waiting for the shelter to open." "Is that your sister?" Marcus asked, gesturing to the little girl. The boy's arms tightened protectively around her. "Yes, sir. This is Emma. She can't walk. Something's wrong with her legs. The doctors say she needs surgery, but we don't have money for that." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. "Where are your parents?" The boy's jaw tightened. "Our mom died 6 months ago. Cancer. And our dad, he left when Emma was born. Said he didn't want a kid who couldn't walk. So it's just us now." "You're alone?" Marcus asked, shocked. "Who's taking care of you?" "I am," the boy said, with quiet pride. "I'm taking care of Emma. My name's David, and I promised Mom, keep Emma safe. That's what I'm doing." Marcus looked at this 8-year-old boy, carrying his disabled sister, trying to get them both into a shelter on Christmas Eve, and felt his carefully constructed emotional walls begin to crack. "The shelter's full tonight," a voice called from the line. "They're turning people away." David's face paled, but he didn't cry. He just held Emma tighter. "It's okay. We'll find somewhere. Maybe the church down the street." Emma, who had been quiet until now, spoke in a small voice. "David, I'm cold." "I know, Emmy. I'll keep you warm. I promise." Marcus made a decision that would change all their lives. "David," he said, kneeling down to the boy's level. "Sir, his sister can't walk. Can we stay with you?" David's eyes widened. He hadn't asked the question, but Marcus was offering the answer anyway. "What?" David said, suspicious of this well-dressed stranger. "I have a large apartment. It's warm, safe, and there's plenty of space. You and Emma can stay with me tonight. No strings attached. Just somewhere warm to sleep." David studied Marcus's face with the careful wariness of a child who'd learned not to trust easily. "Why would you help us? You don't know us." "Because I was walking to my car to go home to an empty apartment and spend Christmas Eve alone," Marcus said honestly. "And because no child should have to carry his sister through the snow looking for shelter. Please, let me help." Emma looked up at her brother with hopeful eyes. "David, I'm really cold." David's resolve crumbled. "Okay, thank you, sir. But just for tonight. We don't need charity." "It's not charity," Marcus said. "It's two people helping each other out. I need company as much as you need warmth." Marcus's penthouse apartment was the most beautiful place David and Emma had ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the snowy city, a Christmas tree stood in the corner, covered in expensive ornaments, and the space was warm and bright. "You can put Emma on the couch," Marcus said. "She must be exhausted." David carefully set his sister down, and Marcus could see the relief in the boy's shoulders. He'd probably been carrying her for hours. Emma looked around with wide eyes. "Is this heaven?" Marcus felt his throat tighten. "No, sweetheart. It's just a home. Are you both hungry?" They nodded, and Marcus realized they were probably starving. He ordered food delivery, then showed them to the guest bathroom so they could wash up. While they cleaned up, Marcus called his personal physician, Richard. "I need you to come to my apartment." Now, I have a little girl here who needs to be examined. She has mobility issues in her legs, and I want to know what we're dealing with. Marcus, it's Christmas Eve, Richard protested. I know. I'll pay you triple your usual rate. This is important. An hour later, Dr. Richard Hayes sat in Marcus's living room after examining Emma. David sat beside his sister, holding her hand protectively. It's a developmental hip dysplasia, Richard explained. Completely treatable with surgery and physical therapy. Without treatment, she'll never walk normally. With it, she has an excellent prognosis. How much? Marcus asked. The surgery alone would be around $50,000. Physical therapy afterward. Another 20 over the course of a year. David's face fell. We don't have that kind of money. We don't have any money. Marcus looked at this boy who'd been carrying his sister through the city, trying to keep her safe despite impossible circumstances. I do. Everyone in the room stared at him. What? David said. I'll pay for Emma's surgery and physical therapy. All of it. We can't accept that, David said, his pride warring with his desperation. That's too much. We can't pay you back. I don't want you to pay me back, Marcus said. David, I've spent the last 10 years making more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes. And tonight, I was going to spend Christmas Eve completely alone. Because I've been too busy building my company to build a life. You and Emma reminded me of something I'd forgotten. What's that? David asked. That money means nothing if you don't use it to help people. That success is empty if you don't share it. That the best thing I can do with my wealth is make sure an 8-year-old boy doesn't have to carry his disabled sister through the snow looking for shelter. David's eyes filled with tears. Why are you being so nice to us? Marcus felt his own eyes sting. Because 10 years ago, I had a little sister. She died in a car accident when she was 5. I've spent a decade trying to forget the pain by working constantly, by building an empire, by filling my life with everything except what matters. And then tonight, I saw you carrying Emma, and I saw my sister's face, and I realized I'd been given a chance to do something that actually means something. The room was silent except for Emma's soft breathing. She'd fallen asleep on the couch, finally warm and safe. You had a sister? David asked quietly. Her name was Lily, Marcus said. She'd be 15 now, and she would have loved Emma. David wiped his eyes. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you enough. You already have, Marcus said. You reminded me why I'm here. You gave me a purpose beyond profit margins. Over the following weeks, Marcus's life transformed. Emma had her surgery, which was successful. David and Emma moved into Marcus's guest room temporarily, which became permanent when Marcus realized he couldn't imagine them leaving. He hired a family law attorney to help navigate the system. With no living parents and no other family, Marcus began the process of becoming David and Emma's legal guardian. Are you sure about this? His attorney asked. You're a single man with a demanding career. 2 children, one with special needs. That's a significant commitment. I've never been more sure of anything, Marcus said. These kids saved my life. The least I can do is give them a home. 6 months later, Marcus stood in his living room, now filled with Emma's physical therapy equipment and David's school projects. Emma was taking her first steps with the help of a walker, her face glowing with pride. David cheered her on, no longer the scared boy carrying his sister through the snow, but a child who could finally just be a child. Look, Marcus, Emma called. I'm walking. Marcus knelt beside her. I see that, sweetheart. You're doing amazing. David came to stand beside Marcus. We have a family meeting at school next week. They want to meet my guardian. I'll be there, Marcus said. Wouldn't miss it. David was quiet for a moment. Can I call you Dad? At the meeting, I mean. It's weird to call you Marcus when you're basically my dad now. Marcus felt his throat close up. I'd be honored. 1 year after that snowy Christmas Eve, Marcus stood in the same spot where he'd first seen David and Emma. But this time, he wasn't alone. David held his hand, and Emma sat on his shoulders, her legs growing stronger every day. They were volunteering at the shelter, serving Christmas dinner to those in need. Remember when we were waiting in line here? David asked. I was so scared. I didn't know how I was going to keep Emma safe. But you did, Marcus said. You kept her safe until I could help. No, David said seriously. You kept us safe. And you didn't just give us a home. You gave us a family. Emma patted Marcus's head. Dad, can we hand out presents now? Yes, sweetheart, Marcus said, his heart full. If this story reminded you that family isn't always about blood, but about choosing to love and care for each other, please give it a like and share it. Subscribe for more heartwarming stories. Leave a comment about a time when helping someone changed your own life.